Hello. Pittsburgh artists, listen up. You could have a chance to have your work on display in a prominent Pittsburgh location. We'll tell you about the nationwide contest. And speaking of art, hundreds of photographs covering 4 decades of American history are on display right now here in Pittsburgh. You'll see the pictures and hear from a researcher who helped bring together the work of Black photojournalists during some of America's most pivotal times. So pull up a chair and meet us at the corner. Intersection starts right now. Hello, I'm Lisa Smith, the Director of Community Impact at KDKA Plus and the host of Intersections. Right now at the Carnegie Museum of Art, you can see some rarely seen photos in a first-of-its-kind exhibition. It's called Black Photojournalism, and it features the work of around 60 photojournalists who covered major events in American history, from civil rights to entertainment to even Albert Einstein and everyday life. Charlene Fogarty-Barnett is the Charles Teeny Harris Community Archivist with the Carnegie Museum of Art, and she was very instrumental in bringing this exhibition to life. So welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I'm so excited to talk about this show.
I'm excited too, because you were telling me about this a little while ago, and I was like, that is so amazing. So tell me a little bit about how this whole idea came about.
Well, actually, it's a springboard off of our own collection of Charles Teeny Harris, who actually we have his entire collection in the Carnegie Museum of Art. We have about 75 to 78,000 images that Teeny took here in Pittsburgh. I get to call him Teeny, like most of us who grew up knowing him. And so we wanted to broaden his footprint. We opened a new gallery for him last year, a brand new comprehensive gallery. And we were discussing, well, you know, there must be other photographers like him who told the Black history story through photojournalism across the country and worked for other news outlets that were Black newspapers and magazines. And we wanted to research that. So we started just after the pandemic, and we've been going for close to 3 years, and it's been fascinating, absolutely fascinating.
Where were some of the locations that you went to find some of these photographs? And were there pictures that like you weren't familiar with or didn't know existed? Or what were some of the surprising parts of this for you?
Well, that's kind of the other point of the exhibition, was to show images that have not been seen widely. Even in traditional press, you would usually see the same Martin Luther King Jr. photos, or Jesse Jackson, or Rosa Parks, something like that. But we wanted to include photos that are little known, but were regionally known, kind of like what Teeny offered us here in Pittsburgh. And so we went across the country. We went from the north to the south, east, west, Los Angeles. We started in Pittsburgh and in the DC area. We started going through the archives of the Afro-American in Baltimore. That's a very interesting story about women, which was another interesting topic to highlight in this exhibition, the role of women in Black photojournalism, as well as the other jobs that they did in the Black press. And we've spent time at Howard University. We went to Atlanta, of course, that we had so much there. We spent all kinds of time, a week or so, in the Library of Congress, but then we went to collections in Dallas, Texas, that are just held by, not institutions per se, but by collectors. And I was excited about telling the story of Las Vegas, Nevada, because you don't think of the civil rights struggle or the story of African Americans so much from a Vegas story, and that's a very big and very deep and extremely important angle to what we were going through at that time. And so we talked about the Moulin Rouge and the fight for the casino workers to be front of staff and not back of staff, doing the cooking and cleaning and washing. and entertainers who weren't allowed to stay in hotels that they performed in on the Las Vegas Strip,
Right.
like Sammy Davis Jr.
Yes.
And what the barracks of the Moulin Rouge offered for them, not only housing, but also entertainment venues. And then, of course, the Los Angeles stories, New England, Florida, you name any major region, we tried to cover every state we could. And we also tried to do this chronologically, so that we could start with Teeny's era at the end of World War II, so about 1945, and transverse through the high point of the election campaign for Jesse Jackson in 1984. And that was exciting for us to do.
Yeah. Well, there's over 200 pictures or more, but we pulled a few that we wanted to, show our viewers at home, and so they can get an idea of some of these. So this one is showing Albert Einstein at Lincoln University.
Yes.
What was happening here? Because Lincoln is a historically Black college.
Correct. And that was why it was so important for us to show Albert Einstein in this setting, that this is the truth of how our community was. One of the things we're trying to prove through this is also to dissuade the misnomers about what Black culture was really about at this time. And these photos are our proof. So here we have a group of students at Lincoln, and Einstein has gone there to teach them. And I don't think people knew much about this. And so it was very important that we include him.
This one is Jackie Robinson.
Yes, and we know a lot of stories about Jackie Robinson, but this is a beautiful photo where he is in action. In our collection with Charles Teeny Harris, we have an image of him in the locker room that was not used publicly or for press because the commissioner did not want that out necessarily, but when they had action shots like this, those were used. So the stories behind why these photos are like they are, and this one.
And this is MLK, and he's asleep, but tell us where he is sleeping.
He's sleeping in transit on his way to get the Nobel Peace Prize.
And when I look at it, he looks really peaceful.
He looks peaceful, he looks at rest, he looks like we have not often seen him. We have about 5 or 6 very poignant photos of him with his family. We have photos of him actually resting in the Lorraine Motel, reading an article about himself. And it's kind of, eerie, disturbing but poignant, because he's also in the same hotel where he was subsequently assassinated. But this is a moment where he's kind of the Peace Prize. I like that. He's at peace to get his Peace Prize.
The next one, really quickly, is Billy Eckstine. That is here in Pittsburgh, correct? And then we're just one more we want to look at. It's the Jacksons. And when I first saw this, I thought they were on vacation, but you said that's not the case.
That's what it could look like, and that's the other thing that we want people to do, is to take a deep dive into what you're actually seeing. This is when they were the Jacksons, because Randy's involved too. And they are coming back from a visit to Goree Island, which was an enslaved territory. And so if you look at this photo closely, you see it's a beautiful shot because of where they are, sunny skies, beautiful water, but they look like they're thinking about what they've witnessed on this island, leaving it. And it's very poignant that these very well-off young men who've worked hard to achieve what they have are now seeing the roots of where they've come from and where we've come from.
Well, we have a lot to talk about, and you're going to stay with us. So coming up, we're going to hear much more from Charlene Fogy Barnett, including when the companion book of photographs of this exhibit will be released. Intersections, we'll be right back. And we are continuing our conversation with Charlene Fogy Barnett. She is the Charles Teeny Harris Community Archivist for the Carnegie Museum of Art, which is currently premiering a landmark exhibition called Black Photojournalism. Thanks so much for staying with us. So what is so interesting about this exhibition is it's not just photographs. There are some videos and also slides. So explain why it was important to include those elements as part of this exhibition.
Well, I should also mention that this is the first time an art museum in an institution like the Carnegie has done a show like this. And we're very excited because we were able to gather not just still photography, but moving pictures and the slides, that old-fashioned slide deck that makes the sound. It was important that we wanted our visitors to get that feeling, that moment of hearing those sounds and seeing how that machinery worked. We also acquired some microfiche machines, so we have lots of articles from the Pittsburgh Courier that you can actually run and view there. And of course, that was how we started our own research at the Carnegie when we were looking at Teeny's archive, which came to us completely unidentified. So by finding the photos in the archive and in the articles, or in, you know, a society column, that's how we were able to put some label of identification on it. So of course we wanted to share that across the country and to include that content, and we have film work. We're trying to be comprehensive in this because this is a moment to kind of put our stamp on it to say this is important, especially in the climate today.
Yeah, yeah. And so we're looking at an image we just saw that is actually the cover for a book, which we're showing some of the images in the book. Tell us why you wanted to include a book also as part of this release of these photographs.
Well, we wanted to do everything, but we couldn't do everything we wanted. But we know that a publication can go with you. It travels with you. It's a reference catalog. And it's something that can be downloaded. It's something that you can actually refer to when you're doing other projects. And you can find out who these photographers are, what the news outlets were, what the stories were, say, of a fifth-generation group of women who are still working on their Afro-American newspaper.
Yeah.
Women started that newspaper in before the turn of the 20th century, and they are still doing that work. And so we wanted something that could be taken with, you know, that you could reference. It's a nice, healthy, big book, it's becoming almost like our little reference guide or a Bible. And we also are doing a podcast. And so we wanted to include that so that people could meet some of these surviving artists.
Who are still around.
They are still around. They came for the opening last week. And it's just amazing to see them standing next to their own work and telling the stories and telling how they capture these moments, sometimes serendipitously, sometimes they were on assignment, sometimes they were on assignment for one thing and turned and saw another thing, and that became the key photo, actually. So it's all about research and conversation to know what you're looking at, and this story needs to be anchored in the minds of the world, because a lot of misnomers are centered around the Black story, the Black culture in America. And we know the big hits from slavery to the Obama era and beyond, but people don't know that middle ground. They don't want to see that as important because it's not sensational enough in some ways. But the sorority parties and the cotillions and the graduations and the just kids playing with their parents, that's important too. Yeah. And so we're highlighting that, the positivity and the things that are not widely known about the Black culture in America.
Yeah. The other thing that's striking is, you know, sometimes you think, oh, this is going to be all black and white photographs, but there are lots of color photographs. You have this enormous, you know, image of Grace Jones. I mean, so why was it important to show basically that progression of photography?
Well, we wanted for people to see how it began with the black and white 4x5 negatives that they're familiar with Teeny's collection. And we wanted to show how it came through to something like that beautiful photo of Grace Jones, because everybody can kind of remember her, or she was so iconic just as a person. And then we have a really cool photo that Bruce Tolleman took photographer from Los Angeles, but he came to Pittsburgh and photographed Jesse Jackson during his campaign, and he had spent the night at a family's home, a non-African American family's home, and having breakfast in the morning with the family and the kids all around him. So I had never seen that. And I know my colleague Dan Lears, who's the co-curator, and David Hart, who was the designer of the exhibition and the book, they had never seen that.
Yeah.
So we were all so excited about it that we were able to put that out there and tell that story.
Yeah.
And we had the photographer here.
Awesome. Well, we're out of time, but we want to show people where this is happening, and they need to take some time. It takes you some time. Take a notebook, jot things down, because you're going to want to remember some of these items and look them up. But this is running until January 19th, so there's lots of time to still get there. And we really appreciate you coming and sharing this information with our viewers. It's really an intriguing exhibition, so thank you so much.
Thank you, and I hope everyone could come visit us.
Absolutely. Well, coming up, a national call for artists to create art for August. Intersections, we'll be right back. Well, there are lots of talented artists here in Pittsburgh and around the country, and they have a chance to have their work featured at the August Wilson House in the Hill District. It's through the 2026 Art for August exhibition, and the call for applications is out right now. Here to tell us more is Chris Rawson. He is a board member for the August Wilson House, along with Ashante Josie, a 2025 Art for August artist and award winner, and Marlon Gist, a two-time Art for August artist and award winner. Thank you all so much for being with us.
Thank you.
So Chris, just kind of start us off. Tell us how this Art for August started.
So the problem in August's life was that he wasn't nurtured in the Hill District. He was in 7 different schools. He left school in the 9th grade, and we at August Wilson House want to redress that. This is an art center for the Hill District and beyond. So we started this Art for August program a couple of years ago, and this is the 3rd time coming up. The 2nd time is just come off the walls, and that exhibit is actually moved on to the University of Pittsburgh right now. So you can see their art and the art of 8 other people right now, but we're calling now for people who want to enter the what's next year? The
2026.
2026
Yes.
exhibit. And the deadline, we're going to say this a couple of times, I hope, during the program, is October 20th. You nominate yourself. And we're looking for artists who will say, August Wilson has inspired my art. It's not that I want to illustrate his art. It's not that I want necessarily to do portraits of him. I want to show you how he has come into me, and this is the result. So when you apply for the Art for August competition, you don't put before us what you want to enter. You talk about yourself as an artist and how August has inspired you. And we then choose 10 people, and then you have a couple of months to come up with something.
Have you been pleasantly surprised by the caliber of the work that this contest has produced? These are artists who are here. The level of work that you see.
Lisa,
we're looking at some of it now.
I have to interrupt you. No,
Yeah.
we haven't been surprised. It's been high quality work, and that's what we expected. The wonderful thing about it is that we've been able to pick people of different ages, different genders, and put them together, 10 people on the walls at August Wilson House, and then continued around the city. We've done it twice now, and we're doing it for a 3rd time. The difference this year is that we're calling for artists locally, but also nationally. We're hoping to have 5 artists locally and 5 artists nationally represented in the show, and they each get $1,000, and we get to keep the art. So we're building a collection of art inspired by August Wilson.
So Marlon, we got like a couple minutes left, but tell us about what you wanted to portray. You were able to be part of this twice.
Yes. Uh-huh.
So
I was in it twice. The first time around, I really didn't give it all I had. So I went there for the first time and I saw the other people's art and I was like, whoa, I got to step my game up. So the second time around, I wanted to hit him in the head. So I went hard on this one right here. So I wanted to portray Pittsburgh. So it's a lot of things that go on for Pittsburgh with this particular picture. So Fences was produced and made in Pittsburgh.
Right.
Heinz Ketcher's a Heinz Ketcher bottle on the table. That's from Pittsburgh. August Wilson's from Pittsburgh. I'm from Pittsburgh, so it's just loaded up with a Pittsburgh picture, and that's what I wanted to portray, something Pittsburgh, and just to highlight the area.
Yeah, Ashante, how about you? Tell us about what you wanted to show.
Yes, I was inspired by Fences as well. So the movie reminded me of my grandfather. So I used a photo from my grandfather in the 80s from Pittsburgh. And I wanted to kind of tell a story about my family because August Wilson's Fences reminded me of my family in 2025, but also in the 80s and in the 90s. So.
Yeah, what did it mean for you to see your work be at the house?
It meant a lot. It really did. I applied the first year and I didn't get it, but I'm glad I got it this year because my work has grown so much. And now I feel like I've gotten so much visibility, and it also just inspired me to try a new technique, which I'm appreciative about. But yeah, I'm really honored to have honored his work.
Yeah, and we were able to show both of your other work too. So we're going to show now everyone how they can be part of this. This is the information. Basically go to the August Wilson House website and you can apply. There's also a virtual information session coming up in October. But we really appreciate you all being here, and good luck to all those artists out there.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. And I'll have my last word when we come back. Pictures, they are more than something to look at. They make you think. They can transport you into a moment in the past. They can even make you feel like you're in the room where it happened. Pictures are also more than what you see in an exhibit or on a page. They also give you some insight into the picture taker, the photographer, how he or she captured the moment, the lighting, the angle, the significance, the history. All of it makes pictures worth more than 1,000 words. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Intersections.